everyone. Welcome to another amazing episode of the Freedom Freaks. Nicole, what is it about?
Well, we thought it was a great idea to call ourselves the Freedom Freaks. There's not an S there. So I am a freedom freak, and basically we wanted to focus on business owners that really were trying to help. We're trying to help free up their time and just really be focused on prioritizing their emotional health, mental health, their relationships, and all of the things that they really thought they would get more of becoming a business owner. But as one of our guests can probably tell you today, it's a balancing act to try to make sure that you keep those things in check and you prioritize yourself. And so we're all about freedom in your business and breaking the chains of being bogged down by all the day-to-day operations and delegation and things like that. So we're excited to launch Freedom Freaks.
Oh yeah. And we're especially excited about our guest today. Stacey's been a longtime client of Jill's office, and I was just telling her, I feel like we all know her because we talk about her company so highly all the time. We really do. So we're super excited to get her on today to share some of her thoughts. But we'll first have Kaeli. Do you want to give her like a formal introduction?
Yes, absolutely. So today we have Stacey Sparks, and she is the co-owner of Pool Referees. As such, she wears many hats, such as occasional pool technician, HR rep, route manager, customer service associate, and so many other things. However, in the past few years, she's handed over the reins to her husband, Robert, who is the primary operations manager of the business, so that she can focus on homeschooling their 4 kids. Stacey loves working with her family and couldn't imagine growing a business with anyone else. Stacey graduated and has her degree in dance education, and she continues to teach and perform throughout the Dallas-Fort Worth area. So we're so excited to have you on today, and we'll just give her a warm welcome.
Yay, I want to see one of your performances. That sounds so cool.
Yes.
I love that. Stacey, one of the things, I mean, from what that intro says, just all the hats that you wear. In addition to all the hats in your business, not only are you do dance as well as instructor, right? And teach and perform, but then you're also a mom, and not just any mom, but you freaking homeschool your kids. That is a lot.
That's a lot.
I have a couple sisters that are stay-at-home moms and homeschool, and I don't even know how they do it. So I don't know how you do it with everything else. So how did you get into that, and how are you holding it all together?
Yeah. Oh gosh. So, well, by God's providence, because I didn't know what I wanted to do. I got my degree in dance education, and I was like, maybe I don't want to do that though. But he put a little boy into our lives, and then 3 other children along the way. And I just, through dance education, and the TWU has a program specifically for training educators in our school system. So I already knew I wanted to teach. And then having our kids, it was just like a no-brainer. I was going to homeschool. I don't know. It just kind of fell into my lap, and I was like, yes, this is what I'm doing. I had a bunch of friends who homeschooled, so it was super easy for me to get into. And then, from there, it was we kept going. I would tell people, well, we'll just take it year by year. But now I've got an 11, 7, 5, and 1-year-old. And so the 11-year-old, he will be in 6th grade next year. We're finishing up our term 3 of our homeschool year. And then my daughter, who's 7, she'll be in 3rd grade next year. And then my 5-year-old will start official lessons next year as well. So it's obviously going great because I keep wanting to do it. So.
Wow. Okay, so give us the timeline. How long ago did you start Pool Referees?
10 years ago. So my oldest was 1.
Okay, so you jumped into homeschooling after you owned a business. You're like, okay,
yes.
Give me more. I got it. How do you structure your days? Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, that's fine. So right now it's changed throughout the years, as you can imagine. With just my son and I, it was, in fact, him and I were just talking about it, oh, Jake, do you remember me working in the office day in and day out? Because I did all the routes. I interviewed people with my father, who also owns the business with us. You know, I was running things. I would call my husband up at his full-time job and ask him questions that clients had, like putting them on hold and be like, okay, Robert, what's the answer to this? I don't know. Giving people pricing. I would go out on the weekends and help my dad and my husband clean if needed. So it was just kind of less focused on homeschool and more about the business. And then as my son grew older and we had my daughter, my husband and I really sat down and we were like, okay, can I homeschool? Because I have the business to focus on, or can we somehow delegate the business stuff out a little bit more? And so things kept going off my plate. I would work in the afternoons, do school in the mornings. And now that's kind of how I am. I'll take calls and stuff throughout the morning. Sometimes if it's really rigorous, you know, I'll just turn my phone on silent and just get back to customers when I can. But having—
they help you out sometimes too, right?
Yeah, I was like, having you guys has been, oh my gosh, so freeing. I don't have to run into a closet anymore and be like, hello, like pool referees. So yes.
Closet phone calls.
Closet
That's so true.
Like minutes.
Yeah.
Even closet snacks.
Right. Yes.
Well, that's amazing that you keep all the balls in the air and are able to, you know, okay, first of all, you have a 1-year-old, you decide to dive in, start a business. It sounds like your husband at the time had another full-time job, and you're still diving into this, you're doing your dance, and then along the way, 3 other kids come along, plus you start the homeschooling. What, I mean, in addition to some things you already mentioned, what are some things that just help you keep your sanity and keep balanced?
Oh, yeah. So having time, like really structuring my day. In fact, I've through each season, you know, I've structured it differently. And in fact, I realized I was like, we need a change again. Like something needs to change. And so right now, what's really working is, like I said, the morning hours are dedicated to school. Like I really try not to have anything, you know, interrupt that, whether it's the business or other people trying to call me or, you know, having appointments or whatever it is, like it's for school. And then, you know, after lunchtime, we kind of have some free time. So that allows me to just like, oh, I have an hour and I can read a book, or I can play with the toddler, or, you know, like I can do something else, like get ready for, you know, my classes at the studio or something. And then we kind of come back together, probably around like the 3 o'clock hour, and just like the kids are back in from outside, and we have time to kind of delve into some other school stuff. And then like, that's how I'm dealing with it right now. And then of course, my Jill's admin, Felicia, she is so amazing. She probably comes on our time about 12 o'clock. So that's our lunchtime. So I'm, you know, able to sit down at the computer and kind of answer her questions, or if I need to get back to her later, that's, you know, I have time set aside that I can do that now. So that's how I keep my sanity, just like having a clear schedule, that I can like block out times for everything has really kept me sane.
I love that. I totally hear the magic in that.
Yes.
You have to almost be committed to your calendar. Like you can't let things pop in and take precedence, especially even if it is time, like scheduled downtime. I know that's one of my weaknesses is when I build in scheduled downtime, I always offend it and put something in, but that's so bad. And I know it. Yeah. So I'm always fascinated too, just because you are a husband and wife combo, like what are some of your secrets to keeping, you know, your marriage going well and owning the business? And then obviously still you got all the parenting stress and all of that, plus homeschooling and dance and all of that. But because some couples can work together really well, and for others, like there is no way. So what are some secrets to success you guys have found?
Oh man, communication is key through all of it. Even running a successful business, like you have to communicate to your clients. You have to be totally open. I mean, my parents, they've kind of delved into businesses with other family members in the past and it hasn't gone well. And so that was their biggest thing from day one. We will communicate with each other when we feel tension, when something's not going right with the business, whatever it is. So that's been key. And then of course, like, we have to turn it off. You know, probably in the past, like I said, in the past year, I've kind of handed everything over to Robert. So it's less of, you know, a struggle for me to turn it off. But when he was working another full-time job and running the business, and then I was also doing all the office stuff, I'd want to talk to him day and night about it. Like, and he, you know, he shut it off at like 6 o'clock, like that's it. No more talk about the business. We're going to discuss something else or watch a TV show, whatever it was. So that also plays a big part in keeping your sanity. And then even on vacation, like we know we have to work. And so setting that, you know, setting clear expectations for when you're going to work, when you're going to talk about things, like, so that's been really nice. And also, well, kind of the same thing what I just said, like when to call him. I can't call him just, you know, I love to talk to my husband. So I'm constantly on the phone, like, Robert. But it's like setting, okay, Stacey, I want to focus on this. You can't keep calling me. So I have to respect his time. And he also has to respect mine. Like, hey, I can't do these tasks for you at 9 o'clock in the morning. I'm with the kids right now. Like there's just no way I can get that done for you. Or setting clear, you know, expectations, like, okay, he needs this task done. And I have to say, okay, well, can I get that to you by tomorrow evening or whatever? Like, that's when I have time. So all those things kind of play a part in our success, I guess.
I had a question for you, Stacey. Oh,
yeah,
I like that. So you're talking about communication and all of that. I was going to ask you, like, what types of challenges do you face while you're homeschooling your kids and running your business? Obviously, you seem very organized and you have a great schedule, but I'm sure there are things that come up that are challenging. So
yes, lots of challenges. The first one I can think of off the top of my head is constantly being interrupted by calls. Before you guys, of course, like I had to take the call. I was the first person. That was really hard because I would be in the middle of something, or it's always while I'm cooking onions, and the onions always burn on the stove. Always, even to this day, like I always get a call while I'm cooking and it's always the onion stage, like, oh. So that's, yeah, just like constantly being interrupted. Even sometimes with you guys, like I have to either just let it go, like, shoot, I really can't take this call right now. Yeah, those were some struggles. In the earlier years, being out and about, like with my son, you know, being on field trips or, you know, a meeting or something like a mom's group or whatever we're doing, knowing that I have to just step away. Sometimes that stinks, like, you know, oh, sorry guys, I have to take this call. Or some really big challenges though too are not having enough guys in the field. So just, yeah, employee, like once I was at a mom's group meeting and I had a call from a girl who was working with me in the office at the time, and it had gone all day under both of our radars. Like we had no idea somebody had just quit in the morning. And so his whole route of like 9 pools just wasn't going to get done. And we just didn't catch it. And so it was both of us being aware of that. And so just like, yeah, that's really hard. The employee, you know, it's always during the summer. Like right now we're kind of struggling with that, like trying to keep people, or trying to get good people even is hard. So that's just being totally honest. Like it's, yeah, when you don't have employees, like you can't run your business. So that's always been a big stressor for both my husband and I, like scrambling and trying to get, you know, our route covered, our customers taken care of, all of that. So just kind of setting aside whatever we're doing and like, there's a fire, like let's put it out real quick. So yeah.
I was curious. I wanted to ask, what do you think, since you and your husband are both in the business, what do you think your strengths are? Because I'm sure you kind of complement each other. And what would you say your husband's strengths are that really complement the business, and what your strengths are? What do you both bring to the table?
Yeah. So he's definitely the idea man. He's the brains behind a lot of this. So that is his strength. And he's got a way of figuring out problems that just, it impresses me. I'm like, I don't know how to figure this out, whatever the issue is. And he brainstorms ideas and comes out of left field with stuff that I wouldn't have even thought of. But in saying that, we can both bounce ideas off of each other. I can only imagine, I have several friends who run businesses by themselves, and I don't know how they do it. Like, I need that other person to bounce ideas off of. So just being able to talk with him and have fun, like coming up with different things. My expertise is kind of in the HR, like team building stuff. So I've been able to do a lot of stuff like that, and he's not great at that. He's said before, like, he's not a good manager. I disagree with him, but he doesn't think that's one of his strengths. And I am. So I'm able to give him ideas to help him with that, and to kind of see, sometimes he can be kind of a hard boss. And I'm like, hold on, but take this, I'm a woman, so take this more feminine approach, like, to it. Like, even though they're mostly men on our team, just having like a woman's perspective, I think, just sometimes our brains don't work the same. So seeing the difference in that has really helped. So I know he can attest to that too. Like, oh yeah, I didn't think about it that way. So yeah.
That's awesome. I think Michelle's thinking the same thing as me. We're both reading this book, Rocket Fuel. I don't know if you've heard of Traction before. Traction's a great book, and Rocket Fuel is a part of Traction. Rocket Fuel is all about visionary and implementer or integrator. And it's really interesting because if you dive into it, you really understand like what role you play and what role your partner plays, and how to separate the two so that you're not crisscrossing and doing jobs that you're not built for. Yeah. And it reminded me a lot about that too. So that's really cool. Awesome.
Yes.
I think it's magical when you have that, especially when you are not just like business partners, but life partner, it's incredible when you can have those strengths that just really complement each other, and just have that different perspective. Like there's a little bit with like the masculine perspective versus the feminine perspective, and also just different personalities. And
for sure.
Things are important to you. And
the more I think about it, I'm doing things at home that are probably not in my best role. Why am I paying bills and budgeting? I don't think I was built for that. I'm not even good at it. So.
Does Robert help with the homeschooling at all?
Sometimes, he's like the, let's see, I guess the principal is what I call him. Like, like you're the headmaster,
Like, go to see dad.
yeah, exactly. So he's in it that way. And so, the kids, after each term is done, we kind of have like a show and tell for dad. So he really likes that. Yeah. But
that's fun.
And do you follow like a certain curriculum, or do you kind of like, what's your model with?
Yeah. So I use a Charlotte Mason education. Charlotte Mason was a woman in the late 1800s, and she started schools in England with a different philosophy than what was going on at the time. And even now it's different, just like really schooling children and seeing them as a person. At the time, especially if you were poor, you weren't smart. That was like coinciding together. And she wanted to show people that no, children are born persons too, and here's how they best learn. So I'm doing a Charlotte Mason education, and it's going great. It's hard. It's very involved, but it's teaching me a lot, and teaching me a lot about my children too. So it's been wonderful.
That's amazing. Do you see any ways that homeschooling has helped you in your business? Have a different perspective at all?
Oh, I don't know. I guess just being compassionate towards other people, because we do something well, I mean, more people are doing homeschool, but when we first started, they weren't. So seeing, you know, like having, sorry.
Is that the ring?
Yes, that's my phone.
I love it. That's so fun. Send it to Jill.
It was not. So, yeah, just having compassion towards people, seeing them, you know, as a person, try not to see them, especially when you talk to just people on the phone, you're not seeing them face to face, and trying to let them understand that I'm a person too. Like, I have these kids at home. So I don't know if that's super helped me in my business, but I do see see how they kind of cross, I guess. Like having that compassion towards people. And we have had to use that a lot, you know, especially, what do you guys call them? Your peaches.
Wow, you know that term.
Yes. I really liked that. But yeah, it's just, I mean, seeing them as a peach, you know, like, and so, yeah, I guess that kind of answered the question.
People understand our
Yes.
So for those that don't know, we call peaches, you know, those customers that can be a little peachy. They just, you know, are very particular. That helps you explain a peach. They're
just not nice.
They're not always nice.
And a peach is a nice thing. They're just a full person.
Yeah.
Without saying anything.
Yeah, never has them, and you know, we often still service them. And
if you're in customer service and you work with humans, you will deal with peaches from time to time, and you need to learn how to communicate with them. So
right,
it's just a thing.
And my kids can be peaches sometimes, and I really don't want to school them.
We came up with the term peaches.
Yeah, we did. Oh, I thought she was calling me a peach. I was like, oh,
I know. I thought you were calling Michelle a peach. Strawberry.
We all have our peach time of the month. Let's be honest.
We do.
Yeah. Well, Stacey,
Stacey. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. I was just gonna ask another question because I actually tried homeschooling my kids for like half the year, like in 2021, I think it was.
Yeah.
And I really liked it because as being an entrepreneur, like, you basically can teach yourself to do anything in the world. Like, if you want to learn something, you can teach yourself. It's right there available to you. So one thing I got out of homeschooling was that, like, it's nice that you can teach your kids at their own pace or where they're at, and like really nurture like what their interests are. And I think that ties into, you know, maybe you could teach them how to run their own business someday. But I also had a question about, like, how do you feel? You probably get this question a lot about like the social aspect of like having your kids being homeschooled, because that was kind of hard for me. But I was just wondering what your thoughts are and how you do that, how you manage that.
Actually, I have to back off of all the activities. It's too much social time. Like, we have to, just because I'm such a social person and I'm a yes person, like, oh, you need me to do this? Yes. You need me to do that? I'll volunteer here. I'll volunteer here. Like, let's just go do all the stuff. And it's too much on my kids. Like, it's too much on me. And then, of course, if it's too much on me, an adult, of course it's too much on a child. Like, that's a lot. So I don't really struggle with that, just because, like I said, they're in everything. We also, this was not planned, but we also have a great homeschooling community here in the neighborhood. So we have a lot of friends, outside doing stuff. We have groups around the area that you can get involved in, just like homeschool activity groups. So we go and do field trips or just park meetups, whatever. There's always the co-op aspect. We do belong to a co-op that meets every Monday. So they're kind of like, that's kind of their school, you know, like that's their friends, that's their core group that they're going to grow up with. So yeah, I haven't had an issue with that. I can see how some people might, especially if you live, like, I have friends who live really far away from like any city. I'm in a city, so it's kind of easy for me. But that just means you just travel further for those activities and things. So, but it's, for me, it's the opposite. I'm trying to bring things back into the home, like not so much outside. So.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So cool. Do you play music too? I see that guitar behind you.
Oh, I dabble at the piano, but I'm teaching my kids guitar and piano and having them in lessons and stuff. So
love it.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, it's so fun getting to know you better, Stacey, and just hearing how you do it all. I'm super impressed by you.
Oh, thank you.
Sorry. So thank you so much for joining us, and thanks for being a freedom freak with us. Your shirt should be coming soon. So
yes. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
That's okay. I'll wear it and post a picture.
Yes, do that.
Yes.
Awesome.
But thank you so much. Say hi to your kids and to Robert from us, and keep being amazing. So
thank you guys. Yeah, thank you. Keep being amazing too. So
all right. Thank you, Stacey.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.